Let's begin. Let go of the day. Let go of the sounds in the room. Begin to feel the stillness, the comfortable weight of gravity, and the gentle rhythm of your own breathing. Imagine now that we are drifting. We are not in a room, but in an immense quiet and peaceful darkness. The silence here is not empty. It is full. It is the deep velvet black of interstellar space. There are no walls, no ceiling, no floor, just a vast open calm. Below us, if below even has meaning here, we see the distant comforting swirl of our own Milky Way galaxy. But we are floating just outside of it in the deep ocean of the cosmos. We are observers, weightless and serene, watching the slow, silent dance of everything. This void is not empty. It is unimaginably vast, but it is not static. Through this darkness, things are moving. Tiny grains of dust, particles of ice, and sometimes much larger things. They are travelers. They are messengers. They are fragments of other worlds cast out from their own star systems by the slow, powerful pull of gravity. For nearly all of human history, our solar system seemed like a closed house, an isolated island in the cosmic sea. We had our sun, our planets, our comets, and our asteroids, all bound together a familiar family. We believed nothing else could ever visit. But the universe is more generous than that. It sends us visitors. We call them interstellar objects. Interstellar simply means between the stars. These are pieces of matter sometimes as small as a grain of sand, sometimes as large as a mountain, that were born in a completely different solar system, orbiting a different sun light years away. After wandering the galaxy for millions or even billions of years, their long random journey brings them for a brief moment through our home. They are time capsules. They are whispers from a place we will never see. In 2019, astronomers found the second of these known visitors. It wasn't discovered with a sudden flash or a loud announcement. It was a quiet revelation. An astronomer looking at the nightly scans of the sky noticed a tiny faint smudge of light moving in a way that just didn't belong. When they tracked its path, they realized it was not in orbit around our sun. It was not one of our family. It was falling in from the deep dark ocean of space, moving too fast to be captured. It was scheduled to make one pass a swift loop around our sun and then be flung back out into the darkness, never to return. They named it 2I Borisov. The I stands for interstellar. At first, it just looked like a fuzzy point of light. But as it drew closer to the warmth of our sun, something beautiful began to happen. It was not a dead cold rock. It was alive with ancient ice. The gentle heat of our sun, even from hundreds of millions of kilometers away, was enough to touch its surface. This visitor, after eons in the deep freeze of space, began to wake up. The ice on its surface did not melt. It turned directly into gas, a process we call sublimation. As this gas escaped, it created what we call a coma, a glowing atmosphere of dust and vapor. This is what the outline described as jets. But these were not violent eruptions. Imagine instead a piece of dry ice on a warm day, releasing gentle, swirling tendrils of fog. Now picture that on a cosmic scale. This visitor Borisov was breathing. It was exhaling the ancient atmosphere of its birth star. And behind it, the solar wind pushed this gas and dust into a magnificent tail. This was not a shock, but a ghostly ribbon of light, as the outline beautifully suggests. A succulent ethereal banner of silk unfurling across millions of kilometers of empty space. It was a signal, a wave, hello and goodbye all in one motion. This visitor didn't just bring us a beautiful sight, it brought us a profound cosmic riddle. Before Borisov, we had only seen one other interstellar visitor, the strange cigar-shaped object called Oumuamua. Oumuamua was a mystery because it was just a rock. It had no tail, no jets, no ghostly ribbons. It gave us no clues, but Borisov did. As astronomers studied the light from its tail, they found chemicals. They found water. They found carbon. And this was the riddle. It looked familiar. It looked in many ways just like the comets from our own solar system. This was not a problem or a paradox. It was a clue. It suggests that the chemistry needed to build planets, the water that fills our oceans, might not be unique to us. It suggests that the building blocks of life are common, scattered everywhere by these wandering messengers. This is the question the universe asks us. Not are we alone, but how deeply are we connected? We do not need to invent stories of alien technology to feel the wonder. The truth is more profound. The universe itself, through its natural processes, creates structures and travelers more fantastic than we have ever dared to imagine. What else is possible? What other natural wonders are drifting in the dark, waiting to be seen? What other riddles are on their way? Borisov did not stay long. It swung around the sun and, true to its path, began its long journey back out. It is already far from us now, invisible again, heading back into the cold and the dark. Let's think just for a moment about that journey. The journey of a single mote of dust in its tail, or the journey of the visitor itself. Imagine drifting for 1,000,000 years. Imagine for 100 million years, perhaps even 1 billion years, adrift in the silent, immense and patient darkness between the stars, an unimaginable cold, a quiet so deep it becomes a presence. It moves past sleeping, nebbly drifts through the faint, ancient light of distant galaxies, a solitary traveller on an ocean of time. It carries no memory in the way we do, but it is a physical record. It is a piece of another world, and for one brief shining moment it passed through our light, shared its breath with us, and reminded us that we are not an island. We are part of the great interconnected cosmos. And as we settle deeper into our own stillness, we can feel that connection. We are made of the same stardust as that visitor. We are all of us part of the same silent, magnificent story, and so we drift. Our little traveller 3i Atlas has left the warm glow of our sun far behind. It has crossed the invisible boundary, the place where the sun's wind stops and the wind of the stars begins. It is now sailing in the great ocean, the ocean between the stars. This is interstellar space. It is a place of profound, unbelievable quiet, a place of deep, unending, velvet darkness. When you look out from here, the stars are no longer. The soft, twinkling lights you see from Earth. That twinkle is an illusion, a dance caused by the air in our atmosphere. Out here, there is no air, there is no filter. The stars are sharp, hard, unblinking points of light. They are diamonds scattered on black velvet. They are silent, they are steady, and they are so very, very far away. This vastness, this apparent emptiness, it can feel overwhelming. It is the deepest, most perfect void our minds can imagine. But it is not truly empty. It only seems so to our senses, which are used to a world full of air and noise and substance. This great void is actually a place, a very, very thin sea. It is filled with the most delicate, scattered mist. If you were to hold up your hand here in interstellar space, you would find that in a space the size of a sugar cube there is on average perhaps one atom. Just one. Back on Earth, that same small space is filled with billions of atoms of air. Here, a single atom of hydrogen gas, the most common element in the universe, might float alone for millions of years before ever meeting another. This thin, cold sea is also filled with a fine, fine dust. It is like smoke from a distant ancient fire. This dust is made of tiny grains of carbon and ice and silicate rock. These are the scattered remnants, the ashes of ancient stars that lived and died long before our sun was even born. They exploded in fire and fury and seeded this great ocean with the building blocks of new worlds. This sea is also alive with invisible energy. Particles called cosmic rays stream through this void, travelling at nearly the speed of light. They are shot out from exploding stars halfway across the galaxy, an invisible constant wind that blows between the stars. This is the interstellar medium. It is not emptiness, it is the breathing, resting patient substance of the galaxy. It is the blood of the cosmos flowing slowly between the great cities of light. Out here in this ocean, our human sense of distance, it breaks. It simply fails. The numbers become so large that they lose all meaning. A kilometre or a mile is a useless tiny measure here. We must use a different ruler. We must measure distance in the time it takes for light itself, the fastest thing in the universe to travel. We call it a light year. It is the distance that a beam of light can cross in one entire year. It is almost 10 trillion kilometres, a number so large it is just a word. Our nearest stellar neighbour, the Alpha Centauri system, is just over 4 of these light years away. 4 years for a beam of light. To our little probe 3i Atlas, a piece of rock and ice coasting on gravity, that journey would take 80,000 years, and that is just to the nearest house on this cosmic street. And so time itself feels different here. It stretches, it unwinds. It becomes as vast and as quiet as the space it fills. In this ocean, 1,000 years is like a single day, 1,000,000 years, perhaps a season. The universe is in no hurry. It has all the time in the world, and out here in the great quiet, neither are we just drift. The feeling it creates is one of absolute loneliness. A silence so complete, so deep, that you can almost hear the hum of your own thoughts. But perhaps it is not loneliness. Perhaps it is solitude. A perfect, peaceful and profound solitude, a chance to simply be, to float untethered in the grand, silent cathedral of the cosmos. And in this vast, quiet ocean, we have learned that 3i Atlas is not the only traveller. It is not the only piece of cosmic driftwood. In just the last few years, our watchful eyes on Earth have seen others. They are like fellow ships passing silently in the infinite night. Their sails are invisible, their destinations are unknown. They too are visitors, passing through our small sunlit harbour, on their own endless journeys. Each one carries a story from a place we will never know. We remember the first one we confirmed. It was seen in 2017. It was given a name from the beautiful language of Hawaii, a place of great navigators, Oumuamua. It means a messenger from afar arriving first. And it was a strange messenger indeed. As it swept past our sun, we watched it with our telescopes. We expected to see a comet, a fuzzy ball of ice and dust, but Oumuamua was not fuzzy. It was just a tiny point of light. It was dark, perhaps a dark reddish colour, and it shone and faded with a strange steady rhythm. This told us it was tumbling end over end, and its shape, it was not a round ball. It was long, perhaps like a cigar or a flat thin shard. It was strange. It was made of rock or perhaps even metal. It did not behave like any comet or asteroid we had ever seen from our own solar system. It came from the dark, moving faster than anything our sun's gravity alone could capture. It swung around our sun using its gravity like a slingshot, and then it was gone, back into the ocean of night, leaving us with only questions, a mystery. A silent message from a star system we cannot identify, a fleeting glimpse of another's world. Not long after, in 2019, another visitor arrived. This one was spotted by an amateur astronomer, Gennady Borisov, and so it was named Borisov in his honour. And this one felt different. As it drew closer to our sun, our telescopes watched and it began to change. It grew a tail, a beautiful, faint, glowing tail of gas and dust pushed back by the sun's light. It was a comet, a true comet, just like the ones we know from our own outer solar system. A familiar, icy wanderer. But its path, its speed told us the same story as Oumuamua. It was not one of ours. It was a true interstellar traveller. Borisov was a comforting sight. It was a piece of ice and dust born in the cold, distant nursery of another star, a place hundreds of light years away, and yet it looked just like a comet from our own backyard. It was a beautiful, reassuring message. It told us that perhaps the building blocks of worlds, the water, the ice, the dust, are not so different from one star system to the next, that the recipe for worlds is common everywhere. Oumuamua, the mystery, Borisov, the reassurance, and Three-Eye Atlas, our most recent guest. They are the first of many we now know. The ocean is full of them. It's a humbling thing to sit by our sun's gentle fire and watch these travellers, these messengers from other stars pass by. They remind us that the universe is a connected place, that pieces of one star system can and do journey to another. But as we watch them pass, it is important to remember we have sent messengers of our own. We have thrown our own bottles into this same cosmic ocean. Long ago, in the year 1977, we on Earth launched two remarkable, brave little spacecraft. They were called Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Their first mission was to explore the giant, magnificent planets of our outer solar system, to see Jupiter and its great red spot, to fly through the stunning, impossible rings of Saturn, to gaze upon the pale blue sideways world of Uranus, and to see the deep windswept azure of Neptune. They performed their missions perfectly. They showed us wonders, moons with erupting volcanoes of ice, oceans hidden beneath frozen crusts, rings of ice so thin and delicate they were almost invisible. They rewrote our understanding of our own family of worlds, but their journey did not end there. They had so much speed, so much momentum that they escaped the pull of our sun's gravity. They are now sailing just like Oumuamua and Borisov in that same dark interstellar ocean. They are our first true emigrants, our silent robotic ambassadors to the cosmos. And attached to the side of each of these brave, lonely travellers is a message. A simple, hopeful, beautiful message from all of us. It is called the Golden Record. It's a phonograph record, just like the ones used for music, but this one is made of copper and plated in pure gold so that it might survive for 1 billion years in the cold of space. It is protected by an aluminum case, and on that case are etched instructions, a set of simple scientific diagrams, a map to show any civilization that might find it how to play the record, how to see our pictures and where in the vast galaxy the message came from, where we are. And on the record itself, the sounds of our world. Imagine floating in that perfect silent darkness and finding this and hearing the sound of wind, the sound of thunder, the sound of rain falling, the crashing of waves on a shore, the sound of a human heartbeat, the sound of laughter, the cry of a newborn baby, and music, beautiful, powerful music from every culture on Earth. The genius of Bach, the passion of Beethoven, the joy of Chuck Berry. The complex rhythms of a pygmy tribe in Africa, the song of a lonely whale calling in our oceans, and on this record greetings, a simple word hello, spoken in 55 different human languages, ancient and modern. It is the ultimate message in a bottle, A small piece of our world, a testament that on a small blue planet orbiting an ordinary star in this one brief moment of cosmic time, we lived, we thought, we built, we felt, we loved, we dreamed, and we wondered if we were alone. Those Voyager probes are sailing now in the dark. They are moving at thousands of kilometers an hour, but space is so vast they will not pass even remotely near another star for 40,000 years. 40,000 years. Think of all human history, all of our civilizations, our kings, our empires. That is only the last 5,000 or 6,000 years. This is a journey into a future we cannot even imagine. Perhaps no one will ever find them. Perhaps they will sail for 1 billion years, silent and cold, their message unheard until the record itself is worn away by cosmic dust. Or perhaps the message was not for them, for the aliens. Perhaps the message was for us. The very act of making it, of choosing what to send, of deciding as a whole planet what sounds, what music, what images best represented all of us. Perhaps that was the real purpose, to remind ourselves of our hope, our curiosity, and our fragile, beautiful and shared existence. So this is the interstellar ocean, a vast, dark and waiting sea. It's populated by lone atoms of hydrogen, by ancient smoky dust, and by the invisible winds of cosmic rays. And it is populated by the occasional wanderers from other stars like Oumuamua and Borisov, and wanderers from our star like Voyager. But where do all these wanderers, these messengers, these pieces of rock and ice and dust truly come from? Where do comets like 3I, Atlas or Borisov begin their long, cold sleep? They are the leftovers, the fragment. The dust and debris from the creation of worlds. They are the crumbs from the great, messy, wonderful table of stellar birth. They are born in the harbours, the places where the stars themselves are born. To understand these lonely travellers, we must look to their homes. We must zoom out far beyond this interstellar sea, far beyond the reach of our one single sun. We must zoom out until our sun is just one of many, one single point of light in a swirling, glittering river of billions. We must look at the grand, spinning cities of light that hold all these stars and all this dust and all this gas together, the homes of the stars, the galaxies. Let your breath slow down and your mind expand. We have wandered through our own solar system, past the quiet worlds of ice and gas under the warm gaze of our own familiar star, the sun. Now, we are going to take a step further out, much further. We are going to journey beyond our own stellar neighbourhood and into the grand, silent ocean of the cosmos. Out here in the truly deep dark, the light is gathered into massive, breathtaking collections. They are islands. Islands of light in the vast empty sea of intergalactic space. Each island is a galaxy, a city of billions, sometimes trillions of stars, all bound together by gravity, all spinning together in a slow cosmic ballet. And we live inside one of them. It is our home, we call it the Milky Way. When you stand outside on a clear dark night far from the lights of human cities, you can see it. It is not just a scattering of stars, it is a structure. You can see a thick, hazy, shimmering band of light splashed across the sky, like a river of spilled milk or diamond dust. That is not a cloud, that is our galaxy seen from the inside. You are not looking at it, you are looking through it. You are looking through the crowded, dense plane of our galaxy's disk. That river of light is the combined glow of billions of stars so far away that your eyes cannot separate them into individual points. They blend into a single luminous stream. Feel that for a moment, that sense of belonging. You're not just on a planet, you're inside a vast spinning structure of light. The dust that makes your body, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, it was all forged inside stars that belong to this very galaxy. This river of light is your origin. This is your cosmic city. Our city is shaped like a great flat spinning disk with beautiful spiral arms curling outwards. Our sun and our tiny Earth. We live out in one of these quieter suburban spiral arms. We are not in the chaotic centre, but in a peaceful neighbourhood gently orbiting the heart of this grand structure. Let your mind drift now. Let's take a journey. We are going to travel from our quiet suburb inwards, towards the bright, vibrant downtown of our Milky Way. Let's fly, past star systems and nebulae, the stars becoming more frequent, closer together. The sky is no longer black. It is a brilliant, dense tapestry of light. We are moving towards the great central bulge, the glowing heart of our galaxy. Here the stars are ancient. Billions of them are packed into a dense glowing sphere. The light is warm, a golden misty haze. It is a place of incredible energy, and at its very, very centre lies the anchor that holds our entire galaxy together. It is not a monster. It is not a void waiting to devour. It is a presence. Scientists call it Sagittarius A star. It is a supermassive black hole, but for tonight, let's not think of it as a hole, let's think of it as the ultimate centre of gravity. It is the silent heavy heart around which everything else revolves. Like a perfectly balanced spinning top, our galaxy needs a central point to turn around. This is it. Its immense gravity is not a destructive force, but a creative one. It is the gravity anchor that organises the chaos. It holds all 400 billion stars in our galaxy in its gentle, massive embrace. It keeps them from flying apart into the empty void. It is the shepherd, and our star, our sun, is just one member of its flock following its path in a slow, peaceful orbit that takes over 200 million years to complete. It is the silent anchor that gives us stability, that gives our galaxy its beautiful spiral shape. It is the quiet centre, holding us all together as we drift and spin. Now, let's gently pull our awareness back from the glowing core, back to our own quiet spot in the spiral arm, and let's look outwards, beyond the edges of our own river of light, beyond our own island. If you know just where to look, in the constellation of Andromeda, you can see something. On a very dark night, you might spot a tiny, blurry, faint patch of light. It's so dim you might think your eyes are playing tricks on you. A little oval smudge, like a fingerprint of a ghost on the blackness of the sky. That is not a star, it is not a cloud in our own atmosphere, that is another island. That is the great Andromeda galaxy. It is our nearest large galactic neighbour. It is a sister galaxy to our own, slightly larger, perhaps holding as many as 1 trillion stars. When you look at that faint smudge, you are looking at the combined light of 1 trillion suns. Light that has travelled for 2.5 million years to reach your eyes. You are seeing another city of light, just like ours, and this neighbour is moving. Over billions of years, the slow, persistent pull of gravity has been drawing our two galaxies together. Andromeda and our Milky Way are on a cosmic path to meet. In our human language, we might call this a collision. It sounds violent, catastrophic. We imagine a terrible crash, but the universe does not operate on our hurried timescale, and space is not as crowded as it seems. This will not be a crash, it will be a dance. It is a cosmic dance that will unfold in slow motion over billions of years. When these two great islands of light finally meet, they will not destroy each other. The space between the stars is so incredibly vast that it's almost impossible for any two stars to actually hit one another. Instead, the two galaxies will pass through each other like two magnificent ghosts. Their stars will not collide, but their gravity will tangle. They will pull and stretch and weave around one another. Great tidal arms of stars and gas will be flung out into space, creating new beautiful patterns. They will fly apart, and then pulled by gravity's undeniable tether, they will fall back together again and again, over hundreds of millions of years. This slow, majestic dance will see them merge. The two spirals will be woven into one. A new gigantic galaxy will be born from their union, a new, even larger island of light with a new shape and a new future. It is not an act of destruction. It is an act of creation. It is the way the universe builds, slowly, gracefully, turning two beautiful structures into something new and even more grand. All of this happening long in the future as part of the slow, inevitable and peaceful rhythm of the cosmos. This cosmic dance is happening everywhere. Our galaxy and Andromeda are just two islands in an endless ocean. When we look deeper into space with our most powerful telescopes, we see them everywhere. Billions upon billions of them. And they are not all the same. Each galaxy, each island of light has its own shape, its own personality, its own story to tell. We see magnificent spiral galaxies like our own and Andromeda. They are the great spinning pinwheels of the cosmos. Their beautiful, graceful arms are dusted with blue and white light. This blue light comes from massive, hot young stars. These spiral arms are cosmic nurseries. They are dusty, gassy, and rich with materials, actively giving birth to new generations of stars. They are the youthful, vibrant, creative cities of the universe. Then we see the elliptical galaxies. These are different. They are not flat disks. They are huge, soft, glowing ovals. Some are almost perfectly round like a smooth river stone. Others are stretched out like a cosmic football. Their light is not blue and white. It is a warm, golden reddish yellow. This light tells their story. They are filled with very old red stars. These are the ancient, settled, mature galaxies. Their wild days of starbirth are mostly in the past. They are the cosmic cities that have already merged and settled down, quiet, massive and majestic in their old age. And finally, as we see the irregular galaxies, they have no shape at all. They are chaotic, beautiful splashes of light, like clouds of stars torn apart by cosmic winds. Their story is often one of drama. Perhaps they are young, just beginning to form. Or perhaps they have had a recent close encounter with another galaxy, a gravitational tug-of-war that pulled them out of their elegant shape, leaving them beautifully messy and scattered. These irregular galaxies are often bursting with star formation, their chaotic shapes triggering new waves of creation. Every shape, every island of light, is a chapter in the universe's great diary. A spiral, a story of youthful creation. An elliptical, a story of ancient peace. An irregular, a story of dramatic change. And here you are, drifting on a small blue planet in a quiet arm of a great spiral galaxy, which is itself part of this vast, endless ocean of islands. All of them spinning, dancing, merging, and glowing. All part of the same silent cosmic rhythm, a rhythm that you can feel, a pulse you can drift to, as you too join the slow, peaceful dance and drift deeper and deeper into sleep. We pull our focus back now, further and further leaving the gentle swirl of our own Milky Way behind. We drift past our neighbour Andromeda and all the small galaxies of our local group until they are just a small bright cluster in the dark. We keep pulling back, millions of light years, then hundreds of millions of light years, then billions. From this immense distance, the galaxies themselves, all 100 billion of them, become nothing more than tiny points of light, like single grains of sand. You might expect them to be scattered randomly like dust thrown into the wind, a perfect chaotic spray of light against the black. But that is not what we see. No. As we drift here in the profound, silent ocean of the cosmos, a pattern emerges. It is the largest pattern we know. It is not chaos. It is a structure, a magnificent, delicate and luminous design. We call it the cosmic web. Imagine a tapestry or a vast, intricate lace. It stretches for billions of light years in every direction. It is made of impossibly long, thin threads of light that weave through the universe. We call these threads filaments. And along these shimmering galactic threads, the galaxies are clustered. They are not scattered, they are arranged. They flow along these cosmic rivers like beads of dew on a spider's web. Great superclusters, thousands of galaxies strung are found where the threads cross great shining knots in the tapestry. Our own Milky Way is just one tiny speck of light on one small thread in this incomprehensible network. And just as important as the threads are the spaces between them, the dark, empty patches in the lace. These are the voids. These are regions of emptiness so vast, so profound that our minds can barely hold the idea of them. These voids are not just empty, they are enormous. A single beam of light are travelling at its unbreakable speed. 186,000 miles every second would fly for 200 million years, 300 million years, 400 million years, and find almost nothing in its path. Just a stillness, a cold, a silence, so complete it is almost a presence. The universe on this grandest scale is like a beautiful foam. The voids are the great bubbles of nothing, and the filaments are the thin walls of the bubbles where all the matter, all the stars and all of us have gathered. You can feel the question rising in your mind. What are these threads? What holds this impossible structure together? If the galaxies are just the shining beads, what is the string they are threaded on? The strange and humbling truth is that we cannot see it. The threads, the true structure of the universe, are invisible. All the light we see, every star, every nebula, every brilliant galaxy, all the normal matter that we are made of is only about 5% of the universe. It is just the glitter. It is the foam on a deep, unseen ocean. The threads themselves, the scaffolding that this entire cosmic city is built upon, is made of something else. A substance we call dark matter. It is the great invisible architect. Imagine you are building a grand, sprawling house before you can put up the beautiful walls or hang the bright lights. You must first build a frame, a skeleton. Dark matter is the skeleton of the cosmos. We believe it was there first in the very early universe. It formed this vast web, this invisible scaffolding, and then gravity did its work. Dark matter does not shine. It does not burn. It does not reflect light. It does not feel anything. It is a ghost, but it has weight, it has gravity, and that gravity is the why behind the where. It is the silent shepherd, and the galaxies are its flock. The gravity from these unseen threads pulled the ordinary matter, the gas, the dust, the stuff of stars into its embrace. It is the undercurrent, the invisible riverbed that guided the flow of normal matter, shaping it into the rivers of galaxies we see. The universe we see is just the visible blueprint drawn over an invisible structure. Think about that. Right now you are living, breathing, resting inside a vast invisible structure. You are part of a grand design held together by a substance that is 5 times more common than everything we have ever known. A substance that passes through your body, through the earth, through the sun, as if you were not even there. It is the silent, steady hand that built the cosmic house we live in. It is the anchor holding our galaxy together. It is the weaver of the great tapestry. Let that thought settle, this invisible presence holding the universe in its arms. But as we watch this tapestry over billions of years, we notice something else, something impossible. The tapestry is stretching. For a long time, we thought the universe was in a simple battle, the outward momentum from the Big Bang pushing everything apart, and the inward pull of gravity from all this matter, both light and dark, pulling everything back together. We wondered which would win. Would the universe slow down, stop, and one day collapse back in on itself in a big crunch? Or would it slow down and just drift apart forever, growing cold? We built our great telescopes, we looked out into the deep, deep distance, and we found the answer. And the answer shocked us. It is not slowing down, the expansion is speeding up. The threads of the tapestry are being pulled further apart, the great voids are growing even vaster, the galaxies are rushing away from each other faster and faster and faster. What could do this? What force could be stronger than the gravity of all the dark matter in the universe? We do not know. It is the deepest mystery we have. We give it a simple name, but the name just hides our confusion. We call it dark energy. This is not matter. It is not a thing. It seems to be a property of space itself. It is the energy of the vacuum, the energy of nothing. And this nothing is powerful. It is a gentle but relentless pressure. It is not an explosion that happens once. The prompt from the user was Oitho Gyan no, the expanding breath, and that is the perfect description. Dark energy is the gentle, constant breath of the universe. With every moment space itself exhales, it stretches, and the more space there is, the more of this dark energy there is, and the more it pushes. It is a cosmic competition, a great silent tug of war that defines our universe. On one side you have dark matter and gravity, the pull, the architect, the force that gathers and builds and holds things together. It tries to pull the tapestry into tighter, brighter knots. On the other side you have dark energy, the push, the expansion, the force that is embedded in space itself, pushing everything apart. It tries to stretch the tapestry until the threads snap. If dark matter is about 27% of the universe, and normal matter is 5% dark energy, this mysterious expanding breath makes up all the rest, nearly 70% of everything. Our universe is dominated by 2 ghosts, an invisible puller and an invisible pusher, and in this great cosmic era, the one we are lucky enough to live in dark energy is winning. It is a slow, patient victory. It means that the great superclusters, the bright knots in the web, will be the last great structures ever built. The galaxies in our own local group, like Andromeda, we are already bound by gravity. We will stay together on our journey to a distant merge. But the other groups, the other galaxies across the great dark voids are being pushed away. And because space itself is growing between us and them, they are receding faster and faster. 1 billion years from now, the night sky will look much the same, but in 10 billion years, 50 billion, those distant galaxies will be pushed so far, their light will be stretched so much that they will one by one vanish from our view. Their light will no longer be able to cross the expanding gulf of space to reach us. The universe will become quieter, darker, emptier. Just a few large island galaxies adrift in an ever-expanding, silent dark, a universe that has exhaled and will never inhale again. So here we are, floating. We find ourselves resting on a tiny, beautiful world of blue and white, orbiting an ordinary star in a quiet arm of the spiral galaxy, which is just one of many drifting along an invisible thread of dark matter, which is just one part of a vast cosmic tapestry. A tapestry that is slowly, gently being stretched apart by the very breath of space itself. It is a story of magnificent, impossible scale. It is our home, but it leaves us with the biggest question of all. This tapestry, this intricate, beautiful design of filaments and voids of invisible matter and expanding energy. Where did it come from? How was this pattern decided? Who or what set up the loom? To find that answer, we cannot look forward into the fading future. We cannot even look around at the structure as it is today. We must instead look back. We must travel back with our minds. Rewinding the cosmic clock, we must fly back past the formation of our Earth, past the birth of our Sun, past the assembly of our Milky Way, back before the first stars ever ignited, back before the tapestry was even woven back to a time when the universe was a blank, hot, dense canvas. We must go all the way back to the very first thread, to the loom of creation, back to the beginning of everything. Let your mind drift. Let the complex tapestry dissolve and prepare to journey to the very first moment of time. Let us drift now beyond the pull of planets and the anchor of our own sun. Let us travel not just through space, but through the grandest ocean of all the ocean of time. Tonight, we listen to its story. This is the symphony of time itself, a composition written in light and gravity, and we are its audience. Our journey begins at the first moment, the very first vibration, the start of the symphony. We call it the Big Bang for this, but this name can paint the wrong picture. It was not an explosion in space like a firework bursting in the night sky. There was no outside for it to explode into. It was instead an unfurling, the sudden rapid unfolding of space and time itself, everywhere at once from a state of impossible density. Imagine all of it. Every galaxy, every star, every planet, every grain of sand, every drop of water, and every atom that makes up your body. All of it. All the energy and all the rules of the universe compressed into a point smaller than anything we can measure. A point of infinite heat, infinite density. It was not a place, but a state where before had no meaning. And then it began. In the first fraction of a second, the universe unfurled, expanding faster than the speed of light. Space itself stretched, carrying the seeds of energy with it. It was not chaos, but a moment of profound and perfect creation, as the laws of physics, gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces all crystallized from this one unified state. The first note was struck, and its resonance is what we call reality. In these first few moments, the universe was a ferocious place. It was a searing, brilliant fog, a soup of the most fundamental particles. It was so hot and so dense that light itself was trapped. A photon of light, a particle of seeing, could not travel more than a tiny distance before being absorbed and re-emitted. The universe was perfectly opaque. It was a kingdom of impossible energy, but it was a kingdom of total brilliant darkness. There was no sight, only being. For thousands of years, this cosmic fog persisted. The universe continued to expand, and as it expanded, it did something crucial. It cooled. This cooling was like the slow exhale of a held breath. The frantic, searing energy began to calm. The particles once moving too fast to connect began to find each other. Electrons, which had been zipping freely through the soup, were finally captured by protons and neutrons. They began to settle into orbits, forming the very first stable atoms, mostly hydrogen and a little bit of helium. This moment, which happened about 380,000 years after the beginning, changed everything. As the atoms formed, the fog lifted. The universe in an instant became transparent. For the very first time, light was set free. The photons that had been trapped inside the fog were released, and they began their long, uninterrupted journey across the cosmos. This was the first dawn, the first true light. And the most incredible part, this light is still here. It is all around you right now. As you lie here, you are bathing in the afterglow of creation. This light has been travelling for 13.8 billion years. It has stretched as the universe expanded, cooling from a brilliant white-hot glow into a faint invisible energy. We call it the cosmic microwave background. It is the echo of the universe's first breath. It is the oldest light you will ever touch. When astronomers point their telescopes at the blankest parts of the sky, they see it. A faint uniform hum, the remnant of our cosmic birth. But after this first brilliant flash of light, the universe entered a new phase. It was transparent, yes, but it was empty. The lights had not yet been turned on. These were the cosmic dark ages. Imagine a vast, quiet darkness. A universe filled only with enormous drifting clouds of hydrogen gas. There were no stars, no planets, no galaxies. Just silence and the patient, invisible pull of gravity. Gravity, the silent architect. It began its slow, meticulous work, It found the places where the clouds of gas were just a tiny bit denser, and it began to pull. Over millions of years, that gentle pull became a powerful embrace. The clouds of hydrogen began to swirl, to spin, to collapse in on themselves. They formed vast dense knots. As the gas atoms were crushed together, the pressure and temperature at the center of these knots began to rise, first to thousands of degrees, then millions, until finally a critical point was reached. The pressure became so immense that the hydrogen atoms themselves could no longer resist. They fused together. In that instant, a new and spectacular process began: nuclear fusion. In that instant, the first stars were born. The darkness was broken. One by one, then by the thousands, then by the millions, these new lights ignited, populating the dark with the first stellar fires. But these first stars were not like our gentle, steady sun. They were giants, monsters of fiery gas, hundreds of times more massive. Because they were so massive, they burned with an unimaginable fury. They were brilliant blue-white beacons shining with the light of 1,000,000 suns. And because they burned so brightly, they lived fast and they died young. Our sun will live for 10 billion years. These first giants were lucky to live for 10 million. But they were not born in vain. They had a singular, glorious purpose. They were the first factories, the first forges of the cosmos. The universe at this point was made of only hydrogen and helium. The building blocks of life, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, did not exist. They had to be made. Inside the raging hearts of these first stars, the intense pressure and heat fused the simple atoms into more complex ones. Hydrogen was crushed into helium. Helium was crushed into carbon. Carbon into oxygen. Oxygen into silicon. And in the final desperate moments of a star's life, into iron. These giant stars, having forged these new heavy elements, had one final act to perform. When they ran out of fuel, their massive cores collapsed. They did not fade away, they exploded. They died in the most spectacular events the universe has ever known, supernovae. These explosions were so bright they briefly outshone the combined light of their entire host galaxies, and in that final violent act they scattered their precious cargo across the vastness of space. The carbon, the oxygen, the iron, the calcium, this is where your story truly begins. The dust from those first exploded stars mixed with new clouds of gas. These new clouds, now enriched with heavy elements, collapsed to form the next generation of stars, and then the next. Our sun is one of those later generation stars. It was born from the ashes of those ancient giants, and the cloud of gas and dust that formed our sun also formed the planets, including our Earth. This is not poetry, this is physics. You are stardust. Think about this as you breathe. The calcium in your bones, the very structure that holds you up, was forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago. The iron in your blood, the atom that carries life-giving oxygen to every part of your body, was created in the final fiery moments of a supernova, an explosion that ripped a star apart. The carbon that forms the basis of your DNA, the blueprint of who you are, the nitrogen in your muscles, the oxygen you are breathing in right now, all of it was cooked in a stellar furnace and scattered across the galaxy, to one day come together here on this small blue planet and become you. You are not just living in the universe is living in you. You are the legacy of those first furious, beautiful stars. You are the cosmos made aware. And so the symphony plays on. Stars are born, they live, they die, and they seed the universe with the building blocks of new life. Galaxies merge, they dance and spin a beautiful, intricate pattern of creation and renewal. But all symphonies must have a finale, even the symphony of time. Let us drift far, far forward, billions, then trillions of years into the future. The universe is still expanding. In fact, its expansion is getting faster. A mysterious force we call dark energy is pushing everything apart. Galaxies once clustered together will drift away from one another. Imagine being in a galaxy in this far future. You would look up at the night sky and you would see nothing. No other spiral arms, no other pinwheels of light, only the stars of your own galaxy, in a vast, profound and endless blackness. The other galaxies will have moved so far away their light will be too stretched and too faint to ever reach you. The universe will become a collection of lonely islands. Inside these lonely galaxies, the process of star birth will slow down. The great clouds of gas, the stellar nurseries, will be used up. The last stars to be born will be small dim red dwarfs. They are not spectacular, but they are patient. They sip their fuel rather than gulping it. They will burn not for billions of years, but for trillions. They will be the last faint embers in the cooling fireplace of the cosmos. But even they cannot burn forever. One by one, they too will flicker and die and die. They will fade, leaving behind cold, dead remnants, black dwarfs. The universe will enter its final age, an age of darkness. The stars are all out. The galaxies have dissolved. The universe is cold dark and unimaginably vast. The only things left will be the quiet corpses of stars-cold planets and the silent, patient black holes. Even they will not last. Over timescales so large that our minds cannot even hold the numbers, black holes themselves will slowly evaporate, returning their energy to the void in a whisper of radiation. This is the end. We call it the Big Freeze, or the heat death of the universe. But do not think of this as a frightening or a sad ending. It is not a violent death. It is a letting go. It is the long, slow, gentle exhale. It is the universe finally coming to rest. It is the symphony's final fading note, the chaos of creation, the fire of the first stars, the dance of galaxies, the brief, brilliant spark of life. All of it will resolve into a single quiet chord, a state of perfect eternal stillness, an ultimate unending peace. But that is an age of eons, a story for a time beyond time. Our time is now. We live in the glorious, brilliant springtime of the universe. We are balanced perfectly between the fiery dawn of creation and the long cold dusk to come. The sky above us is not empty. It is filled with the light of 1 trillion other galaxies. The universe is not cold and dead. It is bursting with the energy of creation, still forging the elements of new life. We are here now. We are the part of the symphony that has woken up and can listen to the music. We are the universe's way of knowing itself. And as you lie here, a collection of ancient stardust breathing in the legacy of those first stars, you are a witness to it all. You are a part of that grand cosmic song. So let the music of the spheres, the echo of that first light and the quiet hum of the cosmos cradle you. Let go of the day. Let go of the worries. You're home. You're made of the same stuff as the stars. And it is time to rest. We have travelled so far together. We have drifted out past the furthest lights to the very edge of the cosmic shadow. We have watched the universe be born in Psi, and we have felt the deep cold stillness of its final fading pulse. We have seen how our own small world is not an island, but a ship on a vast dark ocean facing challenges that will push us to become something new. And now, after all these journeys, we return. We stand on the shore of a great quiet sea. This is the shore of contemplation. We look up at the sky, which is no longer a stranger to us. We know its secrets, we know its scale, and knowing this we come back to the oldest, simplest and most profound question of all. After witnessing the trillions of stars, the billions of galaxies, the countless worlds warming themselves in the gentle light of their suns, we must ask, are we alone? We have listened. We have aimed our machines at the sky, listening for a whisper, a signal, a pattern, anything to tell us that someone else is out there also looking up, also wondering. And what we have heard so far is silence, a deep, vast and perfect silence. When we first began to listen, this silence felt like a puzzle. The numbers told us the universe should be full of life. The galaxy should be a noisy place, a grand conversation between thousands of and thousands of civilizations. We asked, where is everybody? It was an anxious question, a question born of impatience. But now, standing here on this quiet shore, perhaps we can ask it a different question. Perhaps we can reframe the puzzle. Instead of asking, where is everybody? Let us quietly contemplate, what does this great cosmic silence mean? Perhaps it means that we are simply rare. Perhaps the universe is filled with wonders, with exploding stars and spinning black holes, with rivers of methane and mountains of diamond. But perhaps it is not filled with life. Perhaps the journey from simple chemistry to a living cell is the hardest journey of all. Perhaps the step from a single cell to a creature that can think and wonder and build is a step that has almost never been taken. If that is true, what a responsibility that places upon us. It would mean that we are not just one voice in a galactic choir. It would mean that we are the choir. It would mean that this little spark of consciousness, this fragile awareness that we hold, is one of the most precious, most unlikely and most valuable things in the entire universe. The silence in this case is not emptiness. It is a backdrop. It is the dark canvas that makes our small light shine so very, very brightly. It tells us that what we have here, this moment, this life, this world, is a miracle to be guarded with everything we have. Or perhaps the silence means something else. Perhaps the universe is full of life. Perhaps the galaxy is teeming with civilizations old and wise, ancient beyond our wildest dreams. But perhaps wisdom does not lead to shouting. What if the wisest path, the path that all old civilizations eventually learn, is the path of quiet? Perhaps they are not hiding. Perhaps they are simply private. Perhaps they have learned that broadcasting your existence into the dark is not always safe. Or perhaps they have simply outgrown the need. Perhaps they have found wonders and challenges within their own minds, within their own digital realms that are far more interesting than the crude static of radio. Perhaps they are listening just as we are, listening to the ancient natural music of the pulsars and the black holes. Perhaps they are watching. They see our young noisy world and they are waiting for us to grow up, to find our own peace, to solve our own problems before we are invited to the greater conversation. In this sense, the great silence is not an absence. It is a presence. It is the sound of patience. It is the sound of wisdom. It is a vast shared quiet holding space for us when we are ready. Whichever answer is true, whether we are rare or whether the universe is just wisely quiet, the result is the same. The silence turns the question back on us. It forces us to look away from the empty sky and back down at ourselves. It asks us, you who are here now, what will you do with your brief precious moment of awareness? This brings us to the very heart of it all, the meaning of our existence. For so long we looked to the stars for answers, for gods, for a purpose given to us from on high. But now we understand we are not separate from the universe, we are part of it, and not just a passive part. We are the universe becoming aware of itself. Think of it. The iron in the blood that flows through your veins, the calcium in your bones, the carbon that builds the very structures of your cells, every single atom in your body heavier than hydrogen and helium was forged inside the heart of a star that lived and died long before our Earth was ever born. You are quite literally stardust. But you are more than that. You are stardust that has woken up. For 13.8 billion years, the cosmos expanded. Nebulae swirled, galaxies collided. It was magnificent, it was grand, but it was all just physics and chemistry. There was no beauty, because there was no one there to see it. A supernova is not beautiful to itself. The rings of Saturn are not magnificent to the ice that forms them. And then, on this small, wet, rocky world, something incredible happened. The stardust organized itself, it became life, and that life over billions of years evolved, and finally it produced a mind, it produced you. When you look up at the night sky and feel a sense of awe, that is the universe feeling awe at its own majesty. When you study a distant galaxy, that is the universe's way of understanding its own structure. When you feel love for another person, or feel compassion for a world in pain, that is the universe which was once just cold hydrogen gas. Learning. We are the senses of the cosmos. We are the witnesses. We are the way the universe observes its own beauty. Our meaning is not to be found out there. Our meaning is to be here. To see, to feel, to understand, to be the brief shining moment where the universe stops being a collection of objects and starts being a story. And that brings us back to where our long journey began. Do you remember? We started by noticing a traveller, a visitor, that little tumbling piece of rock and ice that fell through our solar system, labelled by our scientists as 3I Atlas. It came from so far away, from another star, another system, another family of worlds so distant we will never truly know it. It journeyed for millions, perhaps billions of years through the cold, silent dark. When we first saw it, it may have seemed like just a rock, a curiosity, a piece of cosmic debris, but now after all we have seen together, we know what it truly is. It is not just a rock, it is a messenger. It is a silent physical reminder that our home is not an island. It is proof that the stars are connected. The universe is not a set of isolated points, it is a web. Worlds touch each other, star systems trade matter, and every now and then they send these silent pilgrims on journeys across the void. That visitor, that Sujia, was a piece of another world touching ours. It was a tangible link in the great galactic story. It reminds us in the most profound way that we are part of something so much larger than ourselves. Our world is just one part of a vast interconnected cosmos, a grand and silent story. We are one chapter, and that visitor was a single word, a page blown from another chapter landing briefly in ours before continuing on its way. We are all connected, all of us, to each other, to our planet, and to the stars. And now, as our journey for tonight comes to an end, it is time to rest. It is time to let these vast ideas settle. Let them become part of you. As you lie here, as you feel the gentle pull of sleep let go. Let go of the day, let go of the questions, let go of the need to understand it all. Just be. Feel your breathing slow and steady. Feel the weight of your body held and supported. And as you begin to drift, feel yourself floating, not just in your room, not just on a planet. Feel yourself floating on the great gentle starry river of the Milky Way. You are a part of this current, a particle of stardust drifting in a cosmic sea. You are surrounded by the vast, peaceful, eternal quiet of the universe. And in this great silence, you are not small. You're essential. You're the part of it that dreams. The universe is holding you. You are safe, you are home. Good night and dream of the stars.